Even in defeat, sometimes you get impressed, and Missouri certainly did that at Williams-Brice Stadium in a loss against South Carolina. Can they get back to their winning ways on the road once more when they take on Mississippi State? Welcome on into SEC Unfiltered. He's Dave Shumate. I'm Cole Thompson, breaking down everything we will see this weekend as the Bulldogs welcome the Tigers. Real quickly, make sure that you like the video, hit that ring notification, and smash the subscribe button down below because this is your #1 source for all things SEC moving forward. Download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems. Follow us on the socials, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at SEC Unfiltered. Follow Dave at Mock10 Sports, me at Mr. Cole Thompson, and check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com. This preview is brought to you by our friends over at PrizePicks, the official sponsor of the SEC Unfiltered Tour. Go to PrizePicks.com and use the promo code SECU at sign up to get a $50 instant play with your first $5 lineup. And guys, you're not taking the lines of the teams, you're taking the lines of the players. Do you think Brady Cook hits the over on passing yards? Do you think Luther Burden hits the over on touchdowns? Do you think that, unfortunately, Mississippi State hits the over on turnovers? Whatever you see fit, go to go to PrizePicks.com. Use the promo code SECU at sign up for a $50 instant play with your first $5 lineup. Dave, you and I have talked about this before. There are some times where even in losses, you impress. That's how I feel about Missouri at this point. When my rankings came out this week, I didn't move Mizzou because that was a 4-quarter game, and that was a team that when we talk about being in that dark horse conversation, wanting to live up to expectations as maybe a perennial player for the college football playoff, when you put on a performance against that defensive line of South Carolina, when you take those necessary steps forward, it's enough for you to think there's more than meets the eye when this team is fully healthy. And let's just call a spade a spade. Right now, with Brady Cook, the way that he played on Saturday, if he can stay that version for the rest of the year, this team is healthy, and this team is dangerous down the stretch.
Yeah, I thought it was their best game of the season. Even in defeat, I thought it was their best game. Even in wins against Auburn, obviously, it wasn't great. Even against Oklahoma, you squeaked it out and won with Drew Pine, which was a phenomenal win given your backup quarterback. I think overall, this was their best win. You can go back to Boston College, even games like that. Again, the schedule isn't overly difficult. We talked about that going into the year. But again, I think you could take a lot from that. I thought it was the best game of the weekend, honestly. I want to give both teams their flowers from that perspective. But no, Missouri, you kind of like how they're fighting at the end of the year. They can finish 9-3 with wins against Mississippi State this weekend and then Arkansas. So they'll be favored to do both. So, again, 9-3 at Missouri. Again, guys, it's not playoffs. Again, even 10-2, I don't think you get in because of the schedule. And we knew that going in. I think it's why a lot of people had Missouri at the 9-3, 10-2 range because of that schedule, but also because of what they had coming back on offense. So I think if you won 11 games, won the Cotton Bowl last year. If you finish 9-3, you beat Mississippi State, you beat Arkansas. Not saying it's going to be easy, but if you do it, you go win your bowl game, back-to-back double-digit wins at Missouri. So, I mean, it's another good season, guys. So, I mean, it's still all not to be down on. And if I was a Missouri fan, I'd be jacked by the performance off last week. Maybe jack's the wrong word. I'd be pleasantly happy, kind of like, man, we should have won that game. But you know what? We beat South Carolina more times than I can remember here. I mean, we were due to lose one. You know what? It was in our best performance. So I think they got a lot to build on and going into these last 2 weeks.
There's a lot of things that they have to correct in this game, but I think that they'll be playing pissed off because if they feel deep down inside they should be sitting still in the hunt for a college football playoff. One of the things that they have to build off of, Dave, they struggled on third down. They were atrocious on third down out in Columbia. 1 of 9. They were unable to pick up the sticks. Fourth down, they were 1 of 2. They only had 20 first downs on the game despite having 381 yards. And this is a Mississippi State defense that allows explosive plays. This is a Mississippi State defense that gives up a ton of yards. This is a Mississippi State defense that at times has trouble tackling. This is a game to where it's not about getting right. I don't think that's fair because this is still the SEC. It's still Davis Wade Stadium. It's still a Starkville. The cowbells will be ringing. But this is a game where if you ever want to get back on fixing the things that hurt you last week against South Carolina, they may help you in this matchup. Winning on third down, converting, keeping the drives alive, winning the time possession, because that's an area where where Mississippi State really struggles to play defensively.
No, I mean, Cole, is it weird to say, even defensively, it's just a team as a whole, Mississippi State this year? It kind of feels like they've played better on the road this year outside of the Arizona State game. It's a little bit like, yeah, it's at home, but I'm sitting there like, but I think they circled this one and we're kind of like, this is another gettable. I think in their head, they're like, we're only an 8-point underdog. They're probably not thinking of it like that, but it's definitely like, It's probably our last opportunity to get a win. So I expect Mississippi State to throw the kitchen sink offensively and defensively. They definitely need better home performances than you got against Arkansas. Now, granted, A&M was actually, I take that back. A&M was actually a pretty good one. You're looking at the schedule now. Again, lost by double digits, but still, they were in that game. We're totally blown off.
No.
But the Arkansas game was one that's kind of lasting. You've already taken a loss to Toledo. But, yeah, I mean, let's call a spade, Cole. Like, this year, probably we're expecting a little more, not a lot more. I mean, odds are Vegas will tell us they're going to finish 2-10. But I still think this is a weekend you're a single-digit favorite. At home, if you can go, I know 3-9 is nothing to go right home about. Everybody's dancing over eggnog at Christmas. Like, it's not that. 3-9 is not good no matter what school you're at. But I do think if he could get a conference win, that would make everyone feel a little bit better. Go make some offseason coaching changes. Things would be a little better in Starkville. Again, is anybody going to be happy? No, not with a 3-win season. But I do think this is your last opportunity to go get that win. But thing is, it looks like Missouri, and again, we can't really go week to week. Every team, it feels like this year is no one's consistent. It's not a week-to-week season.
Yeah.
You got to look at the big picture. And I don't know if Missouri's going to come play like that. They may, but also what Mississippi State team do we get? If I'm Mississippi State, I'm telling you, even more so than the Ole Miss game next week, I am throwing the kitchen sink. I may even start the game off with an onside kick.
Why not?
Yeah. I mean, seriously, you got nothing to lose.
You don't, because you're not going to a bowl game. You probably are not beating Ole Miss next week. Let's just call it as is. You're probably not winning that one. But this is a game where, again, we get the version of Mizzou that struggled at times against Vanderbilt, that struggled at times against Auburn, that struggled at times against Alabama. It could be a four-quarter battle. With that being said, though, if you go back and you look at that 33-14 win by Tennessee at home, what's really interesting, at least for my money, Dave, is that they were able to hold Nico Iamaleava to 174 passing yards, but they still allowed the explosive plays. Dylan Sampson had a 33-yard touchdown run. Dante Thornton had a 73-yard score. So it's like, that's what I'm talking about. If you look at Nate Noel and his speed, and it counter mirrors what you have with Dylan Sampson, you could break away for a big-time run. You look at
that stretch zone goal, dude. If they can get that rolling with Nate Noel, I think you would. Me and you talked about this in the show. When Nate Noel was out, that running game was just nothing because I think he is that perfect back, just like Cody Schrader was last year.
Yeah.
That outside zone run scheme. They could have a field day if they're operating it well against this Mississippi State run.
If you could see at least more consistency in the deep ball accuracy from Brady Cook, like he had problems at the beginning of the year, this is a field day for Marquise Johnson. This is a field day for Theo Weiss. This is a field day for Luther Burden. So it's one of those things where, yes, I absolutely think that this is a version of Mississippi State that if they play their best brand and we get a version of Mizzou that we have seen this year that's been so unpredictable, yeah, it could be a four-quarter battle, and this could be one to where eventually Jeff Lebby rallies the troops and he gets a win in conference play. But also at the same time, you're looking at the holes in the armor that is a Mississippi State's defense. It's very easy to believe that without question, he can attack and you can win on the ground and win through the air with the explosivity.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I 100% agree with that. I think the explosive plays are going to be there because they've been there for every team this year, except A&M a little bit at times, but even they had their own fair share of explosives. So, yeah, I mean, Mississippi State just overall has not been good defensively. And some of it's not their fault. The personnel isn't there, but I think some of the lack of adjustments is eye-opening as well.
I think the other thing that we got to talk about right now is what's going to happen with Michael Van Buren. You know, this is a guy that many people believe was going to have a year to sit, learn underneath Blake Shapen. He got thrust into the fire against Florida. He's been the starter ever since. It hasn't been that bad. You know, as much as I thought this kid was going to get killed because of just the way the offensive line was built, the lack of a run game, he's done pretty overall decent. Yeah, does he have a 55% completion rating? Yeah. Does he also have 9 touchdowns against 5 interceptions and 4 rushing scores? He does. And I think that that's going to play a major factor in this matchup of his mobility, his ability to win on the ground with his legs, keep drives alive, and can he attack against this Mizzou front seven? But I'll tell you what, again, they've already gotten a good test against Illinois Stars a week ago, and they were able to shut down this rushing attack. 3 yards per play at South Carolina. Can you do the exact same thing and have the same type of performance? A lot of people refuse to believe in this Mizzou squad because if I get it, they've been a little bit overhyped. They've been certainly a little bit oversaturated. But I think that we have to give a testament to Corey Batoon. A lot of people were not believing in him as the new defensive coordinator when Blake Baker was gone. He's done that this year. In fact, part of the reason why Mizzou has been able to stay in games, the Oklahoma game, the Vanderbilt game, the Auburn game, ones that they probably should have lost, and now we're talking about 7-5 season, that's a team that is very thankful that Corey Batoon has been able to work with what he's gotten in the transfer portal.
Yeah, no, I think he's done a good job this year. I mean, they've had their moments, but for the most part, I mean, you can run on them a little bit, but you could say that about a lot of teams now with how offenses are. The defense are willing to give like the interior run game up a little bit, I think now, to limit explosive plays. But you're right. I mean, I think that unit's probably been better than I even expected. Honestly, if you want to talk about Missouri whole picture this year, I know Brady Cook's been hurt, but me and you even talked on the phone today, Cole. What game would Missouri have won with? What game did they not win that they would have won with Brady Cook? I mean, if they had lost to Oklahoma, I would say that. But other than that, again, the Alabama game's closer for sure. And even could have been a game, I think it's maybe in the fourth quarter if things get going. Because Alabama couldn't get anything going in the first half, to your point about Corey Batoon's defense. There was 13-0 at half. They scored late to make it 13. So overall, it's not like they've missed Brady Cook just from a performance standpoint. But they haven't missed him for like the win. I still think the record would be the same right now with Brady Cook. But no, you're right. I think Corey Batoon, that unit has overall been a pretty good, like you mentioned, Zion Young making a play against Oklahoma. They've had guys step up on the back end after losing Chris Abrams drain and Dennis Rakestraw from last year.
Dave, when we do previews, we always break down one player to watch for. Let's start off with Mizzou. For me, it's Nate Noel. I honestly believe with the way that he fits this offense, with the way that Kirby Morgan dial up plays, with how the explosivity has been allowed by this Mississippi State defense, he's in for a field day. I could see a performance to where we're talking about him hitting over 150 yards. We're talking about him averaging over 7.5 yards per play, multiple touchdowns. And then we go into the Arkansas game, and there's a legit conversation. Do you have a 1,000-yard running back in the SEC? I mean, Dave, he's 684. If he's able to rush for 200 yards in this game, and then he gets another 100 against Arkansas, that's a 1,000-yard running back for Mizzou this year, and a running back that a lot of people kind of forgot about when he came in from Appalachian State. So I think this is going to be a big game for him. I think that even though you have Brady Cook back, you know that he is still not at 100% capacity. So take the pressure off him. Give it a number 8. Give it a number 9. Let them find a way to pile drive it on in for easy points. Yeah,
I like that one. I'm going to go on the other side because I do think if Missouri can limit Mississippi State offensively, I think it's a wrap. For Mississippi State's path to victory, this has to be a high-scoring game, I think. So I think Johnny Walker disrupting Michael Van Buren, being a menace on the edge, at least maybe not putting up sack numbers, but just affecting the quarterback will be key, maybe forcing some turnovers. Again, if Missouri can limit this Mississippi State offense, this game may be another blowout, and it may be another double-digit conference loss for Mississippi State if that keeps happening. So I think it's gonna. If you told me that, I trust the Missouri offense to put up points this week. It's just that if it's going to be a game in the second half or going to the fourth quarter, Missouri can lock it down, starting with guys like a disruptor Johnny Walker. I think he'll be someone to keep an eye on.
I think that it's a little bit wrong that we have to go with another offensive player, but for me, Mario Craver. Here's the deal: you got to figure out what you want to add in via the portal, especially at wide receiver and especially on the offensive side, for this offense to really work underneath Jeff Lebby in 2025. Year 2 is a year to where you've established your culture. Now you build the foundation. Year 3 is where you strike. I feel like that, again, Craver's been one of those players that when he's hot, he's hot. Did not have a good game against Tennessee, but he did have a good game against Texas A&M. He did have a good game against Toledo. He had a 46-yard reception against Texas. He had 2 catches for 75 yards against Georgia. There's a lot to like about him and what his potential can be. This is one of those games down the stretch where you're trying to figure out who are my dudes. I think that is what I'm looking for when there's nothing left to play for other than just overall team morale. Who are my dudes? Yeah. Who's your dude? Can Mario Craver be your dude for 2025?
I'm going to go Devon Booth. I think he established the run game, maybe even try to keep Missouri's offense off the field, because I think that is the big mismatch in this game. I think if they can establish the run game, limit some reps, maybe control the time of possession, that's going to give them the best chance to go win the game. They got to play complimentary football. I think it will be in the 30s or more if Mississippi State were to win, in my opinion. But I do think you have to help your defense out and play keep away a little bit and limit them and keep that Missouri offense on the field, especially now that Brady Cook's back, or keep them off the field now that Brady Cook's back.
Dave, let's go ahead and lock in some predictions. Kickoff set for 3:15, if I'm not mistaken. Game is going to be televised on SEC Network. I'll let you go first. Missouri get back to its winning ways, or is this the first victory in SEC play for Jeff Lebby?
Yeah, I just don't think they're going to get there, Cole. Just this year, I think we both, Cole, I think you were 0-8 with them too. I was 0-8 with them. I just, again, there's a lot of issues with this team, but I think the biggest blessing in disguise is if you're looking for any kind of silver lining, I think it's, you never want someone to go down, but you do like how Michael Van Buren has played a 75% of this season. So I think you're going to go into spring ball with a lot more open. He's going to be more accustomed to the playbook, where if it was just him going in there and he's never started before, he was the backup the whole year, I think it'd be a little bit more of a transition in the spring. I think now that he has played 75%, he's played in these tough road environments, he's played in these SEC games, that'll help him tremendously. On this Saturday, though, I don't think it's gonna matter. I do think if Missouri, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. I think they probably found something a little bit. It's like, hey, you got to get off the ground, get off the mat. Drink said it in his post game. Hey, we can be disappointed, but we can't be devastated from this loss. We need to bounce back, go have a 9-3 season, and just kind of hope to get to a bowl game. And it's harder than ever to rally the troops when everybody's kind of just trying to self-preserve and everybody's just survival mode, and the transfer portal, coaches changing jobs. 10 wins just don't mean as much if you're not playing for a championship. But I think that'll be Eli Drinkowitz's biggest challenge this week, is keeping this team on track to, hey, we go to win these next two, get a big rivalry win against Arkansas. We can go win double-digit games. I think specifically to this game, I think the outside zone run stuff, I think the outside zone run scheme is Missouri does a really good job of that. They just got away from it a little bit when Nate Noel was out with an injury. He's back. I think the outside run zone scheme is going to be phenomenal. I think, again, Mississippi State misfits their gaps a lot, their run fits a lot. I think this could be a big day on the ground for Mississippi State. Added some jet motion, some eye candy. I think Missouri's going to have a big day on the ground. Give me Missouri. I don't know, the point total 57. I'm going to go Missouri 38-17.
Wow. All right. So you look at Mizzou this year in SEC play. 30 points, 10 points, 21 points, 0 points, 30 points, 30 points. You look at how many they've given up. 27 points, 41 points, 17 points, 34 points, 23 points, 34 points. I think that they're just looking for one performance to remind fans what this season should have been, what this season was supposed to be. And you know what? I'm still a bandwagon Mizzou fan. I am. You may have thought that last week I was picking South Carolina to hurt you. I wasn't. I just did not trust Drew Pine. I trust Brady Cook. I trust Tiger Nation. I believe that they're rallying. I think that they want to finish the year 10-3, and they want to make a case. You know what? If we had healthy Brady Cook, if we were able to have a consistent ground game, we didn't lose Nate Noel for one matchup, maybe things would be a little bit different. And I think they're going to be playing pissed off. Dave, I think they're going to be playing so pissed off that this is going to be a one-sided show. I really do. I think that you are not going to see anything happen with Michael Van Buren. I don't think that you're going to see them be able to get off the mat if you're Mississippi State. I think the defense is going to corral and force them into making critical mistake after mistake after mistake. I think that this offense is going to be all predicated on the run. I think Marcus Carroll goes off. I think Nate Noel goes off. I think Luther Burden has a day. I think Brett Norfleet has a day. I'm going bold on this one. I think that you are going to see a very angry and kind of like when you're at the gym and you're just trying to get like that screw you workout in and you're screaming at the top of your lungs. That's going to be Missouri for 59 minutes of action. And then the last minute, they're going to sit there and laugh. I'm going to go Missouri gets a win 45-10. They dominate this game.
Missouri gets the Cole Thompson workout, and
they get the workout of a lifetime, and they are just pissed, and they make sure that everyone knows back in Como, hey, I know this season was underwhelming. This is why we are who we are. This is the real version of us. This is the one that wakes up every single Saturday, and this is the one that you should be buying into. We do stand on business. It ain't business going to the playoff this year, but we'll be right back in this shit next year. That's type of performance I think that you will see from Missouri on the road against Mississippi State.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me at all either. Mississippi State's probably more. Mississippi State, seriously, I mean, Lebby came out and said he's probably more worried about his roster getting poached right now.
Let us know in the comments section down below. What's your score prediction? Is Mizzou back to its winning ways? Is this the first major victory in the Jeff Lebby era? Like, rate, review, subscribe. Make sure you're following us on all the socials, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at SEC Unfiltered. Follow Dave at Mock 10 Sports, me at Mr. Cole Thompson, and check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com. For Dave Shumate, I am Cole Thompson. MIZ! Hail State. Peace.